there, everyone. You're watching In the Loop. This is the weekly theme park news show from Park Rush. I'm Tom, and joining me for this bumper week of news is Josh.
Hello there.
Hello there, Josh. How are you doing? Are you ready for theme park Christmas?
I am, yeah. I am very much excited for theme park Christmas. It's my favourite time of year.
Yeah, absolutely. D23 has just happened over the weekend. It's where Disney put on a show for all of its biggest fans and make a load of promises that they can't keep.
Never do.
So, looking forward to getting into some of those here today because, of course, they dedicated a good chunk of proceedings to the theme parks. So, if you're here for analysis of the latest Mandalorian trailer or casting announcements for Marvel things, you're not going to get that from us, unfortunately, unless we go off on a tangent, which is completely feasible. But we're going to do our best to actually just concentrate on theme parks because there was so much stuff that I had to chop quite a lot from my news list, and yet still there is quite a lot for us to get through. So, Josh, unless you've got anything else to say, which is even vaguely important, I think we should just crack on.
Yeah, crack on.
Crack on indeed. Well, I thought it would make sense to basically take this park by park. So we'll start with Disneyland, or the announcements that really stood out to us at Disneyland. Then we'll head to Disney World. Then we'll head to Paris. Then we'll head to Hong Kong and Shanghai. So yeah, we'll get a move on. We'll move through this stuff, and without further ado, we will begin with some Mandalorian analysis. Actually, sorry, I told a lie. All of the news today, just to keep it simple, provided by the fine folks at Walt Disney World Today and their sister site Disneyland News Today. They've done write-ups of literally everything that was announced. I think Bob Chapek sneezed during one of the panels. They wrote an article about that and covered everything. So,
understandable.
Mandalorian. Finally, Josh, he's coming to Galaxy's Edge.
It just makes so much sense for him to be there.
Well, it does. I mean, as has been a long-held point of contention, I feel, this commitment to the timeline of Galaxy's Edge, which, as the true nerds out there will know, is supposed to be actually set at a certain point in time in the Star Wars canon, sort of between The Last Jedi and the film of which we do not speak. And for that reason, certain characters that you might have thought you might want to meet, you might want to greet, even if it was a cynical marketing ploy, such as the appearance of one Obi-Wan Kenobi, when perhaps you have a TV show about that very man about to come out. But no, Disney have maintained for the majority of Galaxy's Edge lifespan in both California and Florida, no, you can't meet Obi-Wan, he wasn't around here. You can't meet Mandalorian, he wasn't around here. You can only meet Rey and Kylo Ren and those kinds of guys. So they've given in. We started to see a little bit earlier in the year, didn't they, when they announced characters like Boba Fett.
Yeah.
But I think Mandalorian Baby Yoda was what a lot of people were really waiting for. And do you think he'll be worth the wait, Josh? I'm pretty jazzed by this Mandalorian costume, and Grogu looks appropriately cute. I think they've got the costume pretty much spot on. Looks good.
Yeah, the Grogu animatronic is top notch. I'm really impressed with that. They've done a good job there, and yeah, Mando looks good as well. They've put in fine work.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about Galaxy's Edge, right? As cynical as people can be about Disney parks these days and how they really want to fleece you, Galaxy's Edge absolutely does deliver that sort of feeling that you're really just walking around an incredible Star Wars film set. I mean, they probably could film a Star Wars show in that place, and generally speaking, the costumes and stuff have absolutely matched the quality of the set design. So
Yeah.
it should probably be no surprise here. I mean, you are vociferously anti meet and greet, so I'm guessing this doesn't actually interest you anyway. But
I'm not
you can
anti meet and
admire 'em.
greets. Yeah, if people want to do meet and greets, that's absolutely fine. It's just not something that I am interested in partaking in.
Sorry, I don't know if anyone else heard that. I think he just said it's all a load of stuff and nonsense, and meet and greets can get in the bin. I don't know if anyone else heard that.
It's
The
pretty
queues
close.
for meet and greets take up too much of the walkways, is what I'm hearing. They're just a distraction and an obstacle to the real fun of a theme park.
I actually quite like. I think meet and greets should be in the middle of the park and not stowed away in a building somewhere where you have to queue 4 hours for. I think.
Oh yes, well, I think we're all agreed on
Yes.
that. I mean, Galaxy's Edge is kind of the low. I think at least now they've got back to the point where it is flying the flag for kind of. I guess you could describe them as somewhat natural meet and greets, kind of, characters mingling around with guests and walking around like the good old days. I mean, I
Yeah.
remember walking around Animal Kingdom when I was a kid, and you just stumble across King Louie and Baloo doing a little walk. You didn't have to go to a set place and queue up. So,
Right.
Galaxy's Edge is just about the only place left that still does that.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about them going by on a boat. It's 20 feet below you on a river that you can't really see.
No, you should just Animal Kingdom, just throw your kid into the river, hope they land in the boat.
Yeah.
Get his autograph, Jimmy. Ah! Speaking of meet and greets, Josh, got another one here announced for Disneyland. This time Avengers Campus. And it's Hulk in his sort of, I guess his time travel suit from Endgame.
Yeah.
Right? That's what that looks like. So what's significant about this, because I think everyone would be in agreement that actually the one area where Avengers Campus has delivered is the meet and greets. There have been no shortage of meet and greets that have come and gone from Avengers Campus since it opened. So this is another new one, but what's significant about this is it's part of this Project EXO that Disney has been working on, where they basically create robotic character exoskeletons. And there is, I mean, I was a little unclear until I read the article. It's a good thing to do, by the way. Angry people on Twitter, generally speaking, you're less angry if you actually read the article you're getting angry about.
Read the damn
thing. There is still a person in here. It's not a fully robotic character. There is still a performer in there, and obviously these are massive outfits, but the weight is distributed across the exoskeleton in a way that allows the performers to remain, hopefully, relatively comfortable.
Yeah.
And they control the movements of the character from inside the suit.
That's cool.
So it does sound cool. I mean, I hope they're air conditioned though.
Yeah, for sure. It looks like also that the Hulk's face might be a screen, maybe.
Possibly.
Yeah, it's hard to tell in the lighting, but yeah.
Yeah, there's a picture there of the Hulk on stage with Josh D'Amaro, I think, and Kevin Feige, and Hulk is a bit closer to the camera, so his size is emphasized a little, but he still, I mean, I'm guessing they're going life size here. It's to scale. That's the idea. So Hulk is going to be, he's going to be a big boy. I mean, how tall is Hulk? How tall is Hulk?
He's not full Hulk right at this point. He's like, this is the half Hulk, half Bruce Banner Hulk, right? He's like,
I guess so.
Kind of in between of the two. So he's not full.
Yeah.
He's not full like Avengers 1 big.
My impression of Hulk was that when he's hulked, that's always how big he is. It's just kind of the mental side of Hulk, like how much Banner is there. Right. I didn't realize he went to different sizes depending on how hulky he is. Is that what happens?
Well, I always felt like he was smaller in by the end game, in his like middle state. He seemed smaller. He might not be, but
I don't think so. But I might be wrong. Also, he's between 7 and 8 feet apparently. The Hulk when he's transformed.
Right. So
there you go.
He's quite small, actually. He's quite a small dude. I always think of Hulk being much bigger than that.
Right, yeah. I mean, the question really, Josh, is he bigger than Thanos? Thanos apparently is 8'3" in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, compared to 6'7" in the comic books.
Huh.
But the Thanos that's going to turn up in Avengers Campus, Josh, might even be taller than 8'7" because he's got a crown on his head, which is going to add a few inches. This is King Thanos, and he's coming to Avengers Campus as part of a new ride.
Exciting.
A new e-ticket attraction, no less. But it doesn't sound like this is the Avengers Quinjet. So I don't know if you remember when Avengers Campus was first announced, there was meant to be like a Quinjet ride, right?
Yes. Yeah.
I think the pitch for that was that it's going to kind of fly above battles, Marvel battles, over Wakanda, perhaps.
A Star Tours, an Avengers Star Tours, almost.
Yeah, that would have been. That's not a bad pitch, actually, but it doesn't seem like that is what this is. This seems like something that, something else that they've now come up with.
Yeah, the vehicle almost looks almost Spider-Man at Islands of Adventure-esque from this concept art.
It does, doesn't it? That concept art. Can you tell from the concept art these people have glasses on? It's hard to tell. It doesn't look like it.
It doesn't look like it. No, I can see some open ears. That guy's got a baseball cap on.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say no glasses.
Well, what's notable about this ride is that it's going to tap into the multiverse, which has obviously been a big part of the MCU in the past sort of year and change. So it's going to be able to draw on loads of different versions of characters, and we can see that in the concept art as well. I mean, there are a couple of Spider-Men there. There are a couple of Iron Men, by the looks of things. There's a Moon Knight. There's Captain America. 2 versions of Captain America. There's Captain Carter. She-Hulk, Miss Marvel.
There's looks like what's her name as well from the last Doctor Strange. The girl from Doctor Strange is just over Thanos' shoulder.
Over whose shoulder?
Thanos' shoulder. Below.
Oh, yeah. America Chavez, or whatever her name was.
Yes.
2 Hulks. There's Lady Thor. Well.
A couple of Iron Men. Daredevil.
Yeah. I do like these multiple art styles. It's not like there are multiple versions of characters, but they all look like they could live in the MCU. There are multiple versions of characters that look like they're straight up from different types of media, right? So the 2 Spider-Men there. There's the Tom Holland Spider-Man, but also like a cartoon Spider-Man.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen that. Is that comic book Spider-Man, maybe? I don't know. I feel like I've seen that artwork before.
Yeah, I'm sure it's drawing from something specific. But Disney say this will feature a brand new story that will bring guests into battle alongside their favorite superheroes. And it looks like, from the concept art towards the bottom of the article, it may be relatively close or even in the same place as the Quinjet.
Yeah.
But obviously, so perhaps this would suggest that that Quinjet attraction is completely dead. Anyone hoping that it might be revived at some point, no. This is what you're getting instead.
Yeah, so it's sort of in between, in the space in between the main bulk of Avengers Campus and then obviously Mission Breakout, which was formerly Tower of Terror, sort of in that space.
Yeah. I mean, no word on kind of when the heck this might open or when we might even see them start to work on it in the park. But hey, I'm here for it. I mean, it's cool, the idea that they'll be able to draw on just a ton of different superheroes in the same ride. We haven't really seen that from a Marvel attraction before at Disney or anywhere else. They've tended to be based on specific characters and their specific lineup of, side characters and villains.
Yeah.
So then kind of drawing on a load of them at once, I think for the purposes of a theme park ride, is pretty exciting. So I hope it also, does justice to the concept by at least bringing something new to the table so far as ride technology goes. Like, I'm sure if it was just kind of a motion simulator of some description and relatively familiar, I'm sure you'd still get a kick out of it because of the way it's been themed. But it would be nice if they were able to kind of push the boundaries in some way. I mean, do you reckon a simulator is the most likely bet, though, or do you think it could be more ambitious?
I like you. I hope it's a bit more ambitious than that. I think simulator is probably the easiest thing to do, right? But yeah, I feel like you need to push it somewhere. It does feel like a trackless ride, though, from the concept art, I would say, rather than a simulator. So yeah, something in between, maybe a Spider-Man and a like a Ratatouille or something, using kind of the Ratatouille technology for something bigger, maybe, which I guess is basically fundamentally Spider-Man. So
yeah, I mean, a good way of, I think, presenting a lot of these different art styles and stuff would be, and it'd obviously be very expensive. This would be, I think, kind of at the top end of what I might hope for. But if they take inspiration from Rise of the Resistance in the way that ride combines kind of state-of-the-art physical sets and animatronics with state-of-the-art screen technology, and are able to blend them together in a way so that you might have some superheroes that are, quote unquote, really there in the form of physical animatronics, but then also others who might be better suited to being on screen, like, for example, that cartoon-looking Spider-Man. You could sort of mesh them together like that. That could be pretty cool.
That'd be cool. Do you think this is everyone from the multiverse coming into our universe, or do you reckon we jump between universes, following Thanos, as it were, and we're chasing him down or something?
It seems to suggest this is going to be some form of Marvel reality where Thanos won in Endgame. So presumably it's at least set in a different timeline, a different continuity, and then as to whether or not it's a load of superheroes coming into that same continuity, or if we're going to be bouncing between different ones, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it would be quite cool if we were bouncing between different ones, and if jumped between a realistic environment and a cartoon one, for example. I mean, they do a bit of that. Obviously, they're all cartoons, but they do a bit of that with, like, Runaway Railway, for example. You're bouncing between different looking environments in that ride. So they have done some of this kind of stuff before. I'd imagine it will draw on a lot of what they've learned from the trackless rides that they've done over the past few years, because they definitely seem to be in vogue at Disney at the moment.
Yeah, for sure.
Two more things to round out the Disneyland news for us, at least. They're going to be reimagining Pacific Wharf at California Adventure into San Francisco from Big Hero 6. Josh, have you been to California Adventure? I forget.
I have been to California Adventure. It was, almost 20 years ago now, but I have, yeah.
Was Pacific Wharf a thing? Do you know what that is?
I think it was, yeah. It's it's kind of like the San Francisco area of Universal Orlando, I guess. It's sort of that sort of vibe going on, in terms of the buildings, that look, and that sort of thing. Yeah.
So I guess it makes sense. It's not super far removed from Big Hero 6's mishmash of Tokyo and San Francisco.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I really like Big Hero 6. This reminded me that I'm due a Big Hero 6 rewatch. I would quite like to see that film again. It will, of course, have a Baymax meet and greet. I wouldn't be surprised to see that employ the exo suit stuff that they showed off for Hulk. That would make sense, I guess.
That'd be cool. I wonder if they could get the kind of growth thing going on as well.
Oh, yeah, I wonder.
Bubbles up, doesn't he?
That'd be an interesting visual trick if they could do that. No news on a ride, but I think a Baymax meet and greet sounds like there's some good potential there to do some interesting and unique stuff so far as characters go in a theme park. He should hopefully stand out.
Yeah, there's a lot of focus on like food and that sort of thing in the film as well, right? So that's sort of, they can bring a lot of that stuff into this region.
Yeah, for sure. And then we got quite a lot of new concept art for the, I guess, reimagining of Mickey's Toontown. Notable to me, at least, as being the site for the Disneyland version of Runaway Railway when that opens. And yeah, I mean, they're doing more to this than I had anticipated, to be fair. Looks like there's going to be a sort of water play area themed to Donald Duck's boat. Some of this reminds me of what Toontown used to be like at Magic Kingdom. Remember being able to explore Mickey and Minnie's house, for example.
Yes, of course.
I miss being able to do that. I remember wandering into Toontown this year in Florida and had kind of forgotten that Mickey and Minnie's house had been gotten rid of, and it made me kind of sad.
No.
But Runaway Railway is a pretty good ride. It'll be nice for more people to be able to do that more easily. I'm sure it'll prove popular. I just hope that they have there's more shade for people queuing up for that. That would be my main takeaway from the Florida version is you're standing out in the sun for quite a long time if the queue gets long.
Yeah, that is true.
I mean, there was other Disneyland stuff. There's like new fireworks shows, for example, new outfits for Mickey and Minnie. Because, as we have long joked about on the podcast, Disney are never short of an excuse to have some sort of anniversary celebration going on.
Yeah.
And the next one they're looking at is the 100th anniversary of Disney full stop. So they're going to be taking advantage of that in Disneyland with, as I say, new fireworks, new outfits, new decorations. So,
of course,
yeah, there's always an excuse to party and sell unique merchandise at Disney.
Yeah, you love to see it.
You certainly do. Let's move on to Disney World then, Josh.
Yeah.
And I guess this kind of covers Disneyland too, because this is happening there as well. But Tiana's Bayou Adventure, which of course is the Princess and the Frog re-theme for Splash Mountain. We got some more details on that. We got the fact that it's opening in late 2024 at both parks, and we got a little bit of information about the story and also confirmation that the cast from the film will be returning, which I'm sure everyone had hoped and maybe expected, but it's nice to have it confirmed anyway.
Yeah, for sure.
The story will follow Tiana venturing into the bayou to find animal friends. She's hosting a party for the people of New Orleans, but it's still missing a special ingredient. So that's the setup. And we're being promised new characters, so presumably that's characters who weren't in the film. Animation, lighting, mist effects.
Is it Brer Bear and Bear Rabbit? Is that...
I mean, surely there's going to be some sort of Easter egg, right? They are going to be in there somewhere. Surely some of those Brer lads.
They couldn't be bothered to get rid of the animatronics. They're just still Brer Rabbit's just still hopping along in the background.
Yeah, and I guess they will use some of the songs from the film. I don't know if asking them to come up with new ones is too much to ask. I mean, that would also be pretty cool.
Yeah, I can't imagine them doing that.
Music for the ride. Probably not, but I don't know. Maybe. I mean, if you're getting the whole cast back, and I mean, there's no sign of a Princess and the Frog sequel or anything, is there? So
yeah,
this is kind of a one and done. We're going to get you back for this. I guess it's not impossible that they go above and beyond. I mean, I feel I'm rooting for this ride, and I think it will be good. But there are plenty of bozos out there who for all the wrong reasons are taking issue with it, and I do wonder if because they will be really keen for this ride to really come out swinging and prove itself, given it's replacing a classic.
Yeah.
Maybe this is one where they don't cut corners at all and do go above and beyond. to make sure it's really, really great.
Yeah, I think there's a whole host of reasons why they should come out swinging. I think both sides of that kind of argument, both the ones that want to keep the old, they'll come out, and complain. And then if there are corners cut, then the people that are looking for the change will complain as well. So they need to satisfy both sides by really hitting it out the park, I think.
Definitely. So that's late 2024. So be interesting to see when Splash Mountain closes. One would imagine it will be
fairly soon, right? A lot of it's concrete, so it's going to be quite hard to demolish and replace to work in this new ride. So
yeah. Maybe this gives us some idea, Josh, because we've got an opening window confirmed for Tron Lightcycle Run. As we were hoping for, we said last week on the show when we were looking at some new footage of the ride testing at nighttime, which if you haven't seen it, it's worth going back and having a look. It does look spectacular. But we were looking at that and thinking, but maybe that will be done by the end of the year, kind of opening up kind of October time like Ratatouille did at EPCOT, ready for Thanksgiving and Christmas. But it's not going to open until the spring of 2023. I mean, nice to finally have a time frame, but yeah, a bit disappointing that it's still got quite a bit of time to wait.
I feel like it probably could be opened earlier, but they've, done that. There's got to be some other reason why it's been pushed that far back, because I feel like they're basically there with it.
It does look that way, doesn't it? I mean, I wonder if they've thought, is this also going to be around when Splash Mountain is going to need to close, and maybe this will be something to kind of soften the blow of that, maybe?
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
And I guess, they'll also want to make sure that the railroad is back at the same time as this.
Yes.
So I guess there are a few moving parts beyond just Tron itself. But yeah, spring 2023. So would you reckon sort of maybe April time, ready for spring break would probably make sense?
That seems like the logical spot to put it in, I think. Even if that's just a soft open, I think that's the right time to do it.
Yeah, I would say so. Sticking with the Magic Kingdom, so this is all very conceptual. This is some classic D23 here, Josh. This is some
you love to see
really cool sounding stuff that probably won't happen. So a new land or lands are under development for Beyond Big Thunder Mountain Railroad in Frontierland at the Magic Kingdom. The possible lands will include Coco, Encanto, and Disney Villains. So Disney Villains, of course, I mean, long have Disney fans speculated that if there were to be a fifth gate at Disney World, maybe it could be a Disney Villains park.
Yeah.
So maybe some of those concepts and ideas are just going to be applied to this. I'll be glad to see Coco and Encanto represented. I mean, those two plus Disney Villains seems like a slightly odd trifecta to kind of inhabit the same sort of space in a theme park. I mean, Encanto and Coco less so. You could imagine them, living relatively harmoniously next to each other. But with Disney Villains too, I'm not quite sure how that would.
Yeah, I think
that would work.
I think the concept art gives a kind of cool vibe to me. Like you've got the Coco kind of mausoleum on the left-hand side of the artwork, up on a bit of a hill. On the right-hand side, you've got the Encanto house on a bit of a hill. And just beyond both of them, you've got Disney Villains rising up in the darkness. And I think it, like concept art-wise, it's a really cool vibe. Whether they can pull it off in real life, who knows? Obviously, this is kind of going to be squeezed in between Big Thunder Mountain and the Haunted Mansion is where kind of the entrance for this will be. Obviously, because it will be where the rivers of America are and Tom Sawyer Island. So that's going to be kind of the entranceway, is what they're saying. But then kind of expand backwards beyond that. So, it'd be interesting to see how much land they're going to expand into. Because obviously that's all backstage area. So how feasible is that going to be? How much work is going to be needed there? How much land is going to be needed there? But be cool if they manage to pull it off in anywhere remotely like what they've got in this concept art.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they would never say this. I mean, this feels, at least for now, like the closest we're going to get to a response to Epic Universe. I mean, I think if Disney was seriously considering, oh, do we need a whole new theme park to compete with that? I think we'd start to be hearing about it by now. This almost feels like throwing a bone, right? In some way, like, yes. Oh, I guess we'd better do something of some scale to, counter that. This feels like what they've come up with to do that.
Yeah,
it seems like they're going to take the wait and see approach as to whether or not something even more ambitious is needed to counter Epic Universe, which of course isn't going to open until 2025. And so Tron is going to be Epic Universe.
Yes, and it's a kind of similar vibe to what they're doing at Tokyo Disney, right? So they've got those 3 new lands that they're opening over there that are kind of an expansion space on the original park. Or I think it's on the original park, or is it on? It's on one of the parks anyway. But it's
like car parking they're getting rid of, isn't it, over there to make room for that stuff?
Yeah, exactly that.
Yeah. We'll get to some Tokyo stuff. There was a little bit of that from D23. Let's make our way to Epcot now. A few quick hits before I would argue the kind of the most significant update. Harmonious is going to be replaced. It's not been here long, but of course that is the nighttime show, which I think most people would agree is pretty fantastic, but it does mean that you've got those big ugly floats in the middle of the lagoon, which look a little odd in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
But Harmonious, which came in for the 50th anniversary of Disney World, is going to be replaced for the 100 Years of Wonder Nighttime Spectacular, which is going to kind of do double duty as marking the 100th anniversary of Disney and also the 40th anniversary of Epcot. Did your parents have a view on Harmonious at Epcot, or at least the look of Harmonious at Epcot? Because when we were there in April, May, to be honest, it didn't really bother us at all.
They didn't bring it up, to be honest. I don't think it's something that they noticed. I certainly think it's something I would notice because I really do like the view across the lake to the other side, to the the pavilions on the other side of the lake. But my parents didn't bring it up on either of the podcasts that I had them on for. So
if you haven't listened to those, 2 podcasts are up on the Park Crush feed, wherever you get your podcasts, where you can listen to Josh's mum and dad report back on their time in Orlando. Both are fantastic listens. I guess, though, look, if Harmonious had been really, really popular and really, really well received, it would probably be sticking around, even though there's an anniversary coming up. So
yes, I wonder, like, does Harmonious come back after this, or?
I don't think so. It doesn't seem like the type of thing that anyone will be like, oh, please bring Harmonious back once it's gone. It feels like the type of thing that will just be gone for good.
Yeah, and do you reckon they reuse the barges for this new show, or are they for the scrapyard now?
I mean, the cost-cutting side of Disney are probably looking for an excuse to reuse things, but I don't know why you would go to the effort of coming up with a new show if you weren't going to use that as an excuse to get rid of the thing that people hate about the show that's there at the moment, which are the big old barges that some people ruin the sightlines of the park. I mean, Josh, there's only one thing that ruins Epcot as far as I'm concerned, and that's that blimmin' dragon Figment. I don't understand the obsession with this guy. I went on his ride, and it was one of the most miserable experiences of my theme park going life.
Oh, wow.
But people love this stupid reptile, and he's getting a meet and greet. So maybe I'll have to go back just so that I can swear at it and punch him in the face. That's all I have to say on the matter, Josh. I don't know about you. Are your family Figment fans?
No. We're big Epcot fans as well in my house, but couldn't give a damn about Figment.
I think that says it all. Big Epcot fans, Figment can do one.
Yeah.
I mean, he even made me not want to watch Eric Idle anymore.
Wow.
And that is,
That's
to
big.
me, a real sin.
Yeah.
And just the final Epcot thing I had, Josh. Sorry if I cut across you. Did you have something else to say about Figment? I mean, if it was another insult, I'm happy to hear it.
No, I was just going to say that Figment can do one, but the Three Caballeros and I would say Honey, I Shrunk the Audience should come back as well. But
totally agree.
Yeah.
No opposition from me here. The Journey of Water inspired by Moana, which is a sizable chunk of the reinvention of the front of Epcot that's going on.
Yes.
Isn't going to open until late 2023. Quite some time to wait for that, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I hope it's everything that they kind of promised it would be. The concept art from maybe a couple of D23s ago at this point looked fantastic. I think we talked about it on the podcast a few times. Gave me strong sort of... It looked like something that would be very at home in a sort of Tokyo Disney Sea.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I was all for it. And I hope that it sticks the landing when it eventually opens.
Yeah. I think, obviously other areas of this new Epcot frontage has fallen by the wayside. I think as long as Moana pulls through and sticks the landing, I think it'll be worth it.
Yeah, Mary Poppins was I think announced at the same sort of time for Epcot, and it seems like that's dead in the water. I think other than that Magic Kingdom expansion stuff that we talked about, this was probably the most significant announcement for Disney World. After that, Moana and Zootopia apparently are going to be replacing Dinoland USA at Animal Kingdom. Dinoland USA is pretty dead as of right now. Dinosaur is still there, the ride, but
I assume that's going to
kind of carnival. I'd assume that's going to go too, which I'll be sad to see because I do really like Dinosaur. I think it's still really good fun.
I think they should turn that into an Indiana Jones ride and just keep it, because they've got Dinosaur in California is an Indiana Jones ride.
Yeah, that would make a lot of sense, especially given you've got, a new Indiana Jones film coming. And, that's going to be the last one, it seems. Harrison Ford was getting kind of weirdly emotional talking about it, which was sad and nice to see at the same time. But, if they want Indiana Jones to kind of live on elsewhere, then, yeah, if you've got a pretty good theme park ride that you can bring over to Florida, then that would be a pretty good use of that space. And then, because, Moana and Zootopia, it's hard to imagine mapping either of those to that ride. So I think just replacing it with Indiana Jones, if you've got that kind of ready to go anyway, would maybe make the most sense.
Yeah, for sure.
So very few details on what they plan to do here, but one would imagine that it's going to be very kid friendly flat rides probably.
Well, so from this concept art, it looks like a Dumbo-esque ride. And also a log flume, maybe.
Possibly a log flume, in the Moana section. I mean, Moana, I think, is one of the most fantastic Disney films visually.
Yeah, stunning.
Of the last sort of 10 years. So a really beautiful log flume would be a good addition. And I think they already have a Dumbo. They had a Dumbo, right, in Dinoland. So just replace that, I guess, would make sense. I mean, Zootopia is interesting, right? I mean, obviously there are animals in it, but it's not really about animals. It's quite a human story, and the animals are just replacements for humans. Like I remember people being up in arms about Pandora coming to Animal Kingdom, and I was one of those who, at first, kind of in the first instance, was thinking, "Oh, I don't quite see how that fits." But actually, in its own way, it does kind of celebrate the natural world, just obviously a more fantastical one, and actually does fit Animal Kingdom much better than I would have expected. So maybe Zootopia will as well overcome kind of my initial skepticism, but I do think that whilst Avatar is, as cynical as you can be about Avatar, it does try, even if it's a bit on the nose, to be about kind of environmental issues and nature and stuff. Whereas, as I say, I don't really see Zootopia as being that, so I'm not sure it's going to work in the context of Animal Kingdom in the way that it might seem. I hope they've thought about it more deeply then. Oh, there are animals, so therefore it will fit in Animal Kingdom.
Yeah, for sure. I'm trying to figure out here, like, obviously this artwork, and because it's concept art, they kind of just ignore all of the background stuff. Like, for example, Everest is obviously not in this artwork, so I'm trying to figure out where this sits in that sort of look. Where would Everest be? Where would the Tree of Life be? And it's kind of hard to tell.
I mean, Dinoland wasn't. It's not huge. I mean, that's. I mean, I have a similar feeling about this as I do the Magic Kingdom plans, which is, I don't know. It seems like you trying to do justice to multiple kind of franchises and themed lands in an area which has previously only had one one kind of theming to worry about. I don't know if I don't know if you're going to be able to do it justice, right? I mean, it will look better in your adverts and on your map if you're able to say, oh, there are two lands where there used to be one. But if you turn up and it very much feels that way because they both feel cramped and small, I don't know necessarily if that's the right way of doing it. I feel like I would rather probably have like a really fantastic, no compromise, singular vision for a land than just try and cram multiple ones into a space that perhaps would be best served just having one there instead.
Yeah, it depends on how much they're willing to expand out, right? I think the space at Animal Kingdom is bigger than you think, especially when you take, I think there's an expansion space between what was the Triceratops spin or whatever it was called, and the Finding Nemo show. I think there's an expansion space in there, so it's a bigger space than you think. And if they can use all of that and potentially expand further out, then that would make sense. And obviously Magic Kingdom, I think that Rivers of America's space is bloody big, because that boat is really big. I think it's deceptive how much land is actually there. Certainly as you go back towards the back of the river. So I think there is plenty of space. It's just how well they use the space.
Yeah, that's fair. All right. Well, we'll come closer to home now with some Disneyland Paris announcements.
Oui.
So the 30th anniversary celebration is going to end. When I first read this and it said September 30th, I thought that would be like, oh, okay, that's this month. No, it's September 30th, 2023.
We got plenty of time.
The anniversary. You got plenty of time. Yeah, it's already been going on for a while, but it's going to keep on trucking for over a year from now. You'll still be able to experience it.
Because we call the end of the 25th, right? When we went into 2018.
Yes, so if we do get there, this year or next, then yeah, we should be able to experience the 30th. So that'll be fun. Obviously, Avengers Campus is not long open, so that was kind of their big 30th anniversary edition. But they are also going to add a new show, a Pixar celebration at Walt Disney Studios Park. It's called Pixar We Belong Together. And we've got a little bit of concept art featuring Monsters, Inc. characters. I'm always pleased to see Monsters, Inc. represented. It's relatively underutilized in the American parks, I think.
Yeah,
and sure. And I don't know if it is at all really in Paris. So I'm glad to see it.
Floor, right? I think.
Have they got a laugh floor?
I think they've got a laugh floor.
I forget.
In the corner of studios.
Right. Oh, maybe I should do that next time. I'd be game to see French Mike Wazowski.
that I think that would be even better than American Mike Wazowski.
I think so. Yeah. I hope it's just Billy Crystal still just talking French.
That'd be so good.
Yeah.
I really want a Monsters Inc. ride. I think it deserves it, and I think the Doors concept is perfect for it.
Yeah, there is one. Is there not in Japan?
Is there? Oh, have I missed
I
that?
thought there was. Yeah, Monsters Inc. Ride and Go Seek
Of
is an
course.
interactive dark ride at Tokyo Disneyland. Yet
Gotta
another reason, Josh, as if we needed another
Damn, need to get out there.
To get out there. Yeah, I'd imagine that the doors come into play on that, right? That's
Right?
probably exactly what you want it to be.
Yeah, it's all I want, really.
Yeah. The other Disneyland Paris news was the Tangled attraction.
Yeah.
Which is coming again to studios, and it's this is in addition to the Frozen theme land, which we already knew about. So Tangled is going to come too. If you're a Tangled stan, I mean, it's like the hipster thing, right? Is that Frozen was the big hit, but everyone naturally knows Tangled's the better film.
Yes. Tangled. I think Tangled works. I don't know. Like Frozen is what it is, and like has a very specific audience. Whereas I think Tangled works for a lot more audiences. Like Frozen, you have the haters, and no one really hates on Tangled. I think is the thing. Like Frozen was so big.
I think it just became. Haters. I think it became cool to hate Frozen, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Tangled kind of went under the radar a little bit more. Tangled is a fantastic looking film because it kind of combined the 3D animation with the kind of 2D animation. So I really like Tangled, and looking forward to what they managed to do here.
Yeah, this concept art also has the Toy Story land in it, which I find interesting.
Yeah, it helps you kind of place it a little more, doesn't it, in the park? Not like the Animal Kingdom concept art that we saw, which looked like, it could be anywhere.
Yeah, for sure. And fundamentally, this is up the main street in Studios where the backlot tour used to be.
Oh, yeah. R.I.P. Jeremy Irons.
Yeah, part of that still exists though, as that part of Pixar Place, the Cars ride. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the Frozen stuff sounds a little more ambitious. The Tangled ride sounds like it's going to be a kind of flat ride, maybe a teacup style thing.
Yeah.
But hopefully they bring it on the theming anyway. As I say, Tangled's a really beautiful film, so if they can, do that justice in the park, that would be good.
Yeah, just be a really nice area to walk through would be really nice. Some nice gardens and that sort of thing.
Yeah, that would be nice. Well, you've gone all soft, Josh.
Well, that's one of the big things in at Shanghai, right? Is the gardens for the older generations. I think they should do more of that at the international parks.
Yeah, I don't disagree. Get some Europa Park gardens up in here.
Absolutely.
We'll end with a little bit of news from the Far East. You mentioned Shanghai. We've got some more concept art for their Zootopia land, which is, we've known about for a while and is going to be, I think, far grander in scale than whatever they end up doing at Animal Kingdom, just because, of the space that they're working with. Concept art, it kind of reinforces my concerns, if you like, about Zootopia in Animal Kingdom, because this land is going to look like Zootopia does, which is a metropolis essentially, and just dumping that in the middle of Animal Kingdom doesn't really make much sense.
No.
And so if this is also what the Animal Kingdom, just a more condensed version, if this is what the Animal Kingdom version looks like, I think it will kind of really stand out in a bad way. But yeah, for Shanghai, a park I have not visited, they bring it over there. The budgets are uncompromised, so I'm sure this will deliver when it opens.
Yeah, for sure. I think the difference between the two here will be that this will be a land that you walk in and you walk around, whereas in Animal Kingdom, and this is all just going by the concept art, so it could be wrong, that will be kind of a false perspective. Like Zootopia will be off in the distance and you'll be sort of out in the kind of more like the fields, the kind of outer reaches of Zootopia. Like you
they
do
end up in the jungle, don't they, in the film?
And there's like the train bit at the very beginning as you go towards
I hadn't
Zootopia.
thought about that.
Yeah. Maybe they reimagined the train ride that they were going to put in Japan in EPCOT.
You get a Japan? Could you get a train from Animal Kingdom to Shanghai Disney, connecting the two Zootopia lands? Like they look at the Harry Potter situation in Universal Orlando and are like, we can beat that. We're going to send it halfway around the world.
Oh man, how cool would that be? That'd be so good.
I mean, America are pretty bad at trains, though, unfortunately.
Yes, but the Chinese very good.
That is true. Yeah. You know, if they can just come together, you know, put this sort of worryingly Cold War adjacent situation on ice for a little while, just so you can build a nice train that connects your Disney parks, then you can get back to, war rhetoric.
yeah. Just get straight back to it.
Yeah. We'll end with more Frozen at Hong Kong. The Arendelle expansion over there, which we also already knew about, but we have an opening window now. It's the second half of 2023. We got, again, some new concept art for this. And cool. I think this is probably the most ambitious of the various Frozen things that are going on across the Disney parks all over the world.
Yeah,
it's going to have, a roller coaster for one, which... is always exciting to see Disney working on a roller coaster because they tend to bring it, especially so far as like the theming on their roller coasters is always very good. So
yeah,
I'm looking forward to what they do with Frozen and just it being a different kind of Frozen ride to what we've seen before.
Yeah, for sure. And I think the theming of this area looks spectacular. From the mountainside to the castle to the kind of harbour area, just looks like it could be really impressive if they pull it off.
Yes, 100%. That's going to do it. That was a lot of stuff.
It was a lot of stuff.
And it wasn't all the stuff. There's more stuff. I'll put a link in the video description here on YouTube. All of these stories were sourced from Walt Disney World News Today, and they've got kind of like a landing page which has links to every story we talked about, plus every story that we left behind because there was just too much stuff. But, stuff about hotels, Disney Cruise Line, other fireworks shows and things like that, shops and restaurants coming to downtown Disney, for example. There's a lot of stuff that was announced. So if you want absolutely everything, that'll be the best place to go. But as I say, that will do it for In the Loop for this week. If you enjoyed the show, thanks very much for watching. Give us a like, give us a subscribe. It's much appreciated. If you want an audio version of In the Loop, then the best place to go is links.parkrush.com because that's where our Patreon page lives. And for just £1 a month, that is the tier that will unlock the audio version of In the Loop, and you can punch it into whatever podcasting app you use. Of course, you can also get the Park Rush podcast on whatever podcasting app you use. That comes out every Monday, and as we said earlier, 2 really good episodes with Josh and his parents about their recent trip to Orlando. So check that out. Josh, what else is coming up on the YouTube channel? Where are we going in the Euro Rush vlog series this week?
Oh boy, this week we will be heading this is actually the off week this week. This is not we're not in a theme park this week. We're seeing kind of theme park adjacent things like a stately home and an inverted monorail.
Yes.
Yeah.
Excellent. I'm looking forward to reliving that. That was a good day.
Yeah, it's good fun.
Speaking of theme park adjacent activities, we did hit up the Jurassic World exhibition at the London Excel last week, and some filming was done there. So that'll emerge at some point in the weeks and months to come. Lots of stuff as ever. If you haven't caught up with what we've already done, there's loads of stuff, and if you're looking ahead, there's plenty to look forward to. Thanks very much again for watching. Stay safe and take it easy out there, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.
See ya.